Hello and welcome back to Crazy Tech Talks, the show where we navigate the intersection of technology, creativity, and personal experiences. I'm your host, João Novo, and today's episode promises to be a fascinating journey into the world of 3D art and its potential future alongside artificial intelligence. Our guest today is a talented 3D artist who have had the privilege of collaborating with on multiple occasions, Daniel Rocha, whose work has captivated audiences in games like Katacomb and the delightful game jam creation There's a Monster in My Bed, now available on itch.io. While Daniel doesn't currently work with AI in his designs, his insight into 3D art and game design provide a unique perspective on the potential impacts and opportunities AI could bring to these fields. So whether you are a lover of art, a gaming enthusiast, or simply curious about the future of these industries as they intersect with AI, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. So let's get started. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Hey, first, thank you for the invitation. As you said, I'm Daniel. Currently working with 3D, but it wasn't always like that.
Yeah. I know. So I will start by asking you some questions so you can talk a little bit more about yourself. So
Sure.
can you start by telling us a bit about yourself and your journey as an artist?
Well, I actually I started making drawings when I was a kid. First, because of Tom and Jerry, because I watched a lot of Tom and Jerry, and so I started making draws. I started drawing because of that. Then was Ice Age. I was really inspired by Peter Duseb, who was a character artist in Ice Age franchise, and that's when I realized that you could make a living by drawing, like with art, and that's what I started to pursue. So in high school we can specialize, and I specialized in arts in Colégio Internato dos Carvalhos. So after that, I went to college. Uh, I studied product design and technologies. I didn't finish college. I dropped out because it wasn't for me. And now I'm here working with 3D.
Okay, so in the segue of your last saying, what made you go into 3D?
Like I said, I didn't start with 3D because I was really into illustrations and digital art. I really liked animations, and I was simply mesmerized by movies like Spider-Verse and stuff like that. I mean, and I really wanted to get into animation. Uh, then I started thinking about games due to a friend of mine inspiring me to creating games, and I tried to bring that part of animation into the gaming industry. But first, I wasn't that good in digital art. I was really more comfortable in traditional art. Um, I'd say that most of what I did during high school and even college was all the traditional. So that's where my fundamentals came from. And when I jumped into digital art, I I was faced with a gap that it would take me some time to get used to it. After that, I was pushed into 3D because I actually started learning 3D in high school, 3ds Max. Then I jumped to college and I started to learn SolidWorks, aiming more at industrial work. um, for different kinds of stuff. I mean, I could model an air dryer. I could model an helmet, or I could even model a piece of a car. It really depends.
Yeah.
It's all types of industrial design. But I wasn't really passionate about that, so then I jumped into Blender, doing the work that I do now. uh, I obviously started with the donut. Everyone starts with the donut. Um, but after that, I really put my mind into learning 3D. Like I was fascinated about how how easy it was to bring my ideas into 3D, and then I start to see the things that I created in games, and that was a really nice feeling, like seeing the your work having life in a game. It's really it's really something, and I really felt that with 3D.
Yeah, that's a really nice way of putting, like, coming from a 2D background and loving animations, and then having your first 3D product or character uh, gaining life and seeing that it can move around an environment, it could attack, you could put animations. I think that uh, was like, for you, in my perspective, for you was a real a game changer, because you created a 3D character that was animated, and your goal, since you were a child, was get into animation. So in a way, you kind of fulfill that dream.
Yes,
um
it was exactly like that, like you described it. Because when I went to college, I knew that I wanted to be an artist, but in college I was specializing in something much more specific, like technical work, and that technical work can be really fruitful for people that really like it. But in myself, I wasn't feeling the art there, because I was specializing in all types of mathematical
yeah,
formulas, and it just really wasn't for me. Because, like you said, all I wanted to see was my worlds, the worlds that I have in my head, gaining life, and 3D really helped me fulfilling that dream. Because ever since I can remember, I was always a storyteller. I was always making stuff up in my mind and playing even with toys. And I really remember creating stories from the movies I watched, the series I really liked, and I really remember creating stories with that. And I would always play around that in my childhood. And when I went to high school, I had this dream of becoming a movie director, because I wanted to tell stories, and animation was really um, a big part of it. Like I'd watch Pixar and stuff like that, and I would be like completely mesmerized at their stuff. And I would love the world they created, and I wanted to create my world too. So I would start to write scripts, and then I would try to create like storyboards, and all very amateurish, nothing professional, just like my hobby. And when I started to enter 3D world, and specifically in the gaming industry, when I created my first character and I saw it moving, especially in a game, um, it reminded me of that dream as a child, like you said. Was so it was really heartwarming to see the things I created. First, I would think of them, then I would create them, then I would really watch them gaining life, and it's really something when they gained life in other people's hands, because I created the character, but I'm seeing that character interact with someone else. Like
Yeah.
I'm watching as a spectator people play the world I created, and I can't really put into words how much heartwarming and how fulfilling that really feels. So 3D in that sense that you explained really helped me achieve that dream of having these worlds here and putting it out there for people to play. It's really something.
I completely understand you, and I kind of share your point of view in making 3D games, because it really gives the other people that the game that you created or the experience that you created giving life and giving purpose for them to play, and seeing people play your game is something that it's really heartwarming and fulfilling, because you created an experience for other people to enjoy, and when people do enjoy it, it's an immense pleasure to be the creator of that world. So yeah.
Yes.
uh, so amazing background, like
Thank you.
no,
It's
no,
not
don't
that
need to
much, but
thank.
yes.
You were like all around the movies, all around 3D art, 2D drawings.
During high school, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
During high school, I would watch like 3 to 4 movies per day, like during high school, and I was completely obsessed with it. I mean, I would devour movies and study them. Like, why did they choose this angle? Why are they showing this? And what colors? And always that artistic touch. And that's also the reason that I dropped out of college, because I wasn't really feeling that artistic stuff. I mean, again, it's a great field for people that like it, but it's much more industrial and optimizing and functional.
I have one question. Do you think your interest in movies and interest in being a movie director made you explore other fields in 3D in a way that it helped you like create from another point of view, instead of like being the normal route creating a character, but having that background in your head? uh, would you say that allowed you to create different things while you are creating, let's say, environments, characters, props, anything?
That's really interesting. Actually, I I I don't really think the the top professionals are much different from that, because what that allowed me is to think from a storytelling perspective. So when I'm making a prop, when I'm creating a character, I'm always thinking about what might have happened to that character, or what might have happened to that prop that led it to be this way. So if a prop has a scratch, or if it has um, some minor thing, that isn't noticeable right away,
Yeah.
but it has a meaning, it has a purpose, like a storyteller purpose. Um, and to me, the top professionals, I from what I was able to watch from them, they pretty much think in the same way. So I think that it actually helped me trying to create a purpose in
Okay.
the for instance, if I create a crate
Yeah.
or even a barrel. I recently made a fan art. Recently, quite a few months now, I made a fan art of Sea of Thieves, and one thing that I noticed is that they have like the paint peeling, and they have the sand in
Mhm.
the barrel, but they didn't have bullets. Like they didn't have bullet holes in the barrel, and I found that so odd that a barrel of gunpowder wouldn't have any mark of a bullet in that time. So when I created that fan art, I actually added those bullet holes that can be seen in the in the renders that I made, because what I was trying to do there, and what I'm always trying to do, is creating a story even in the smallest things. And for instance, that gunpowder was empty once and was used as a target for practicing, or maybe was during a battlefield the was shot and got those holes. And that's an example, but I think pretty much like that, because I I really like when I'm digging into a story
Mhm.
and the author um, leaves a mark, but doesn't give the full answer. So you have that mark, and you have to think it for yourself. What might have been, what might have happened to that mark get there. So I really like that interaction with the. I think that's a really nice interaction with the audience when you don't give the full answers, and the audience actually tries to fill that gap. And from my storytelling movie director dream getting into 3D, I think like that. Like I try to give purpose in everything that I make, and I try to make those gaps, but with logic, so that the people the play the games see that and try to come up with theories of what might have happened, or what that might mean. And that can create a really interesting back and forwards from the creator and the audience, because the creator can improve on what the theories might be.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice storytelling interaction that I really like. And I don't see much difference from the top professionals. From what I see, they are always thinking from a storyteller perspective, and I find that really fascinating.
Oh, that's amazing. Like, that's really amazing. Seeing that like a background that came like from nowhere to movies, since a child have become some like a, a pillar for your creation. It's an amazing thing. So let's segue to the AI topics that this episode will kind of be. So I will start by asking you: do you use AI art to create concepts or explore ideas for your projects?
First of all, I want to make it clear that I'm in no way I'm not an expert in AI. I can only tell it from my perspective. And right now I haven't used any art for any reference gathering, especially because when I'm gathering a reference, I try to I try to get that reference from the primary font. For instance,
Okay.
if I'm creating a wall, I'm or a wall material, I'm looking for photographic reference from a certain wall or material, or even other artists take on a possible wall. And so I'm always looking for in reference. I'm always looking for artists and photographic ones. Even for stylized, I really think that stylized has a really strong foundation in real life. So, in order to make a good stylization, for instance, of a barrel, you have to really understand how a barrel works in real life. So, I prioritize photographic references and other artists' work for my work. I so I don't really use
Y-
primarily because I'm not a concept artist, so I don't I'm not always searching for all for whole scenes and trying to set the mood. And I can see how AI art can be helpful for someone like a
mhm.
concept artist that's trying to create a whole scene and needs some ideas. But in my case specifically, I haven't encountered uh, a work. I haven't encountered a job where I might need
Okay.
AI
But
inspiration.
but do you think like if there are tools that can come out, do you think that you might like try it? Like for example, I know that you use Blender for 3D, right? Um, do you think like if a plugin, let's say, that comes out that uses AI to help you create some variations on your art or create really fast material to fill in like without you needing to do all of the work, like improving your productivity overall, would you consider it would you consider using it, or it's a no-go for you?
Um, so maybe maybe it's here that it has a little of moral stance, and I can only give my personal opinion on it. And what I think it's I try to keep as moral as possible.
Hmm.
Obviously, I don't think that what some AI engineers have done is moral because, for instance, using AI to I know that I'm straying away
Yeah.
from the question, but I will answer. I just want to make the whole picture clear that the the AI can be, and I think should be used as a tool because it obviously gets things done faster, and artists should always try to improve on what they can and make use of the tools that are continuing to be developed. So there's always going to be a new blender, a new tool, and stuff like that. And we should we shouldn't stray away from that. We should really try to improve, but while on that, we should always look on the moral front because, for instance, if a company tries to develop develop
An AI plugin
an
for
AI
yeah.
plugin using, for instance, the concept art example. If the AI it's trained within the company and within the consent of that company's artists, I mean, I really don't see a problem there, because the artists within that company have consented, and that company is training a personal AI for its own commercial use within the
They,
within the art that they created.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't really see a problem there. Uh, the Where I draw the line is actually when AI is trained without people's consent,
Okay.
because when, for instance, I can spend like 10 months. I don't think I've ever spent that long, but I can spend like really a lot of time in creating something, only to be stilled and improved by
An AI
an AI
algorithm. Yeah.
without my consent and without at least referring my name. And that's where I definitely draw the line,
Y-
because we should use new tools, we should improve, but we always need to have that moral front. We need to think of a we need to have a moral responsibility
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like there's no point on a company getting into the internet and like, making it like every single image that's on the internet it's free and it's not from a source that you can clone, that you can train your data set on. Yeah, that's not really the point. For example, Adobe Firefly, I don't know if you are aware of it. Like Adobe created a AI plugin for all of their softwares, from what I know, for Photoshop, Illustrator, and so on,
Mhm.
that will help you like create variations on your, I don't know, while you are doing some 2D stuff. Yeah, it can change some landscape or something that will help you like improve. But that data set isn't against any moral specifics, because it was trained on their huge library of images. So it's really a tool to help artists getting things done faster, creating some variation, getting some
Yes.
ideas out faster. So with with tools like this, like Adobe Firefly, and let's say that the Blender plugin comes out, someone creates it. Uh, do you think that you'll be using it? Like in terms of a moral stance, they weren't trained on a huge pile of resources that artists didn't comply, but actually artists comply to those data being trained on. Do you think you'll use them? And if continuing the question, and the other thing is, if you were able to, like, you have your own art, right? If you were able to train an AI for personal use on your art to create and develop some concepts faster, would you be prone to do it? Would you be keen?
Yeah, I don't really see any problem with that. The way you phrase it, like, actually, I don't see any problem. You mentioned Adobe. Adobe actually has another program, which I haven't used yet, but I will use it soon, because I only use Substance Designer for this type of things.
Mhm.
But Adobe also has Substance Alchemy, and it actually uses AI. For instance, I can take a picture of a wall, and I can put it in the
Software.
Substance Alchemy, yeah, and with some AI help that I that I don't really understand yet, will actually help you tile that photo and make it like into a seamless material, and that's really useful. Um,
Yeah.
and I can see myself using that type of stuff. And even those Blender plugins you mentioned, I don't really see any problem with that. For instance, if a company trains AI within the company without using external non-license things, without license, without
The
the
consent of the
consent,
artist, yes.
yes, I don't see any problem. They can even sell it and make it profitable for the company. And if you want to use their plugin, you can pay like a certain fee. I don't really see any problem
Yeah.
with that. I mean, it's a new tool. We should always be striving to improve on the things that we can improve. If I'm making a prop and I don't want to, gosh, if I had an AI that could make UVs so much simple, I mean,
I
I
think there are,
I
actually.
will I will definitely use those because UVs is so if you want to get UV right, you have to really spend a lot of time like planning the whole thing. Um, how much information do you want on a certain specific part of a character or a mod or
Prop model, yeah,
a
yeah.
prop model, yeah, and you have to spend so much time like planning all those things. And that's it's the least favorite part. I personally like texturing and the modeling part, the digital sculpting part.
Mhm.
I'm really fond of that. But UVing can be quite stressing sometimes, and if I have like an AI that can help me, and it's like it has a moral responsibility, is not using external things that does not have license for, I mean, I don't really see any problem in that. And I really think that we should be open-minded, but always
Responsibility.
with that
Yeah.
moral sense.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. So um, I don't really see any problem, and I can see myself using that in the near future.
Um okay, I this question is kind of for both of us. uh what are some unique challenges and opportunities in using AI generated art in video games? And do you think it will change the landscape of games?
Uh, yes, I think it can. For instance, if a company trains an AI
Mhm.
with the consentment of the artists, uh, that company can actually sell that AI usage. And I can see many in the indie game industry using those type of AIs to help them come up with concepts, or even set the mood, or
Yeah.
the whole development in general for the game. And even within the major studios, I've seen some artists that complain the fact that time, it's really an issue in the big market, because you have to get so much work done in a really little time frame. And AI can actually improve on those things, because a company can explore some parts that weren't explored before because it didn't have the time. um, eh, I mean, even within the big companies, money can only buy so much. Artists
Yeah.
can only pay so much artists, and they don't have the time to do everything themselves. And I think that a morally trained AI, with moral responsibly trained AI, uh, those studios can actually achieve more work in less time. and I've seen some optimism in that regard by some artists that I have seen talking about it, and even for indie companies, like I said, a company can train an AI. With some with responsibility, and can sell it for its usage for indie companies that can actually optimize
Their time.
their development.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I definitely think this is a game changer. Uh, in and that it's changing really fast, and that's what makes it difficult to
Keep track of. Yeah.
yeah, and to have some responsibility. So that's why we always have to keep an eye on that. But if we keep an eye on that, and if we try to change things, because even the engineers that develop I don't think they're really interesting in stealing people's art. I mean, that I think that was an unfortunate, but I don't really think that was the
Yeah.
majority of engineers' intention.
I think what they were trying to achieve was like creating something that can generate art and be helpful for artists and for non-artists to come up with ideas for
Yes,
something,
yes, yes.
and not actually steal art. I don't think that was their main goal actually.
Yeah, there might not be their malice
Yeah.
in their intentions. Yes, definitely. So that's why I think we need to keep an open mind on that. I mean, obviously, is very unfortunate for the
The
tons of
artist.
artists,
Yeah.
especially the ones starting now, the got still. And that's really unfortunate, and we should strive to not let that happen again.
Yeah.
And both engineers and artists. And one thing that I think people should keep in mind is that the AI talk, it's mainly between engineers and artists, because the business, the companies, they don't really see a point in debating AI art. They only see the point of where can I get more revenue.
Yeah.
So this is really important for engineers and artists to come together, to stay together and try to improve both lifestyles, because this can be a really good opportunity to optimize both work fields, and improve both work fields in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we shouldn't really create a war between us, because like you said, there might not be any malice thoughts behind the engineers' intention. At least most of them, they were trying to help, and I truly believe that.
Yeah. That's also my idea. Like they were not malice, they were just trying to create something that could help artists, or even a programmer that wanted to do some art. Maybe it was their goal, like, oh, we are programmers, we don't do that much art, because that's the idea. And like
Yes,
they created
exactly.
that to help them like create some concepts and stuff like that. So yeah, uh
But
but at the same time we need to be responsible, we need to have some
yes,
moral grounds, and we shouldn't copyright, because if we copyright stuff, like even an AI copywriting uh stuff, it's not ideal and it's not good, and should be of course punished in that sense. um yeah, so I will segue to another question, because I'm keen to know. It's not related to AI, okay? It won't be related to AI, but another field that I am a part of. It
hmm
will be related to blockchain.
okay.
Okay. So do you plan on making art that can be used on blockchain games, for example, selling props, selling uh, like Catacomb, as you know, selling like creating a game, maybe being again a part of Catacomb. We'll never know. Uh,
It's quite a tricky question
yeah,
because I'm personally I know not everyone thinks like me, but I'm personally very conscious about nature and preserving the nature, and I try to support the companies and enterprises that actually coincide with my vision. So in that sense, Phantasma, for instance, is a company that I think it has a genuine is genuinely worried about the environment and tries to make it self-sustainable and not try to damage the environment. So that's one key point that I find really important to mention, because I I would really love to preserve the nature, and I try to support companies that think the same as me in that sense.
yeah,
At
yeah,
least, but that's my personal belief. So, if you ask me if I can create games or models or characters for blockchain, it really depends on what blockchain we are talking about,
okay,
because if it is within a blockchain that could harm the environment, I'm not really in support of that. At least if they are not trying to change that. But for instance, I definitely don't mind working with companies like Phantasma, because I really see that they have a genuine worry for the environment, and that whatever they do doesn't harm the
that's true.
nature. And
Yeah,
I like I said, I really don't mind moving into the future, because blockchain is here to stay. At least that's what I believe, and it has many years uh, still in its lifespan. So I really think it's a good opportunity to work with it, but always keeping that responsibility in
yeah,
mind. Like I don't want I don't want to just make blindfold decisions that could be harming.
yeah. That
I try to be I try to be really
cautious.
yes, I try to be really cautious in that regard. So I only work with within companies and blockchains that I really feel that are trying to change the
The mind field basically. Let's try to change the way that
yes,
blockchains work. And since you touched on Phantasma, I will touch it again and say that, like, for example, NFTs in its primordial sense will only be like a picture with some attributes tagged to it. But in Phantasma, that changes because it adds another layer to it, a smart NFT that adds a programmable layer that you can
yes.
do so much more with with the NFT. It can have in a way, and as you like, life to it. You know, life. It could be something that evolves over time, and it has a lot of potential in terms of implementations that can arise from it. So it's
Well,
just a question: how can
yes.
people implement it?
But another thing that I would like to keep in mind is this field is full of money hunters in the
True.
bad sense. So sometimes people that only care about money and are only striving to make money will abuse this system. And I really think that both artists and engineers should try to prevent that and show that this world, the NFT, the smart NFTs, for instance, in Phantasma, can be much more than money and should be much more than money. While I still think that we are pretty far from making its full use, because it's still in development and it still needs some years in development to
Yeah.
get to a point where we really feel like everything is being used in
In
the
its
most
Yeah, in
in
the
its
most
full
part.
potential in its
Exactly,
full
exactly,
potential.
exactly.
um, I really don't think we are still there yet, and I really think that the people that doubt its potential have a point, because they have yet to see what it can achieve.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I really think that we should really strive into proving that the potential is there and we can actually make something, create something out of it. And we should really try to keep those money hunters, again in the bad sense, away, because it
It can
can it can
corrupt. Yeah.
yes, it can corrupt its potential, and it gives a bad image of what the spirit of the free mind should be, because the blockchain should be something that liberates people, that makes people, that gives people full control
Of
of.
their money, of their
Yes,
everything, and like the ownership. Yeah.
exactly. It's something that should liberate people and not constrain them. And that these money hunters create all types of scams, and we've seen that a lot, even within big bigger companies, unfortunately. And we should really work to make it clear that that's not what it is about. And right now, people who doubt the potential, they have a point. So we should really strive forward to make them, to try to
Ma-
prove that it has a point, like
yeah.
it has the potential, and we can use it in its full potential. Even if it isn't right now, we will make use of it. So we need to prove people wrong, but not in a vengeful way. Like again, we shouldn't really be against each other's throats. I don't really think that's
The ideal
benef-
situation.
that's beneficial.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't really like the intense war between anti-blockchain and pro blockchain. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that should be what the
But
ideal.
yeah, 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 yeah. I understand. Like it's not. It shouldn't be like medieval war between pro and con blockchain, but
Yes,
actually a formalized discussion between two parties that can agree that it can be a favorable thing and a non-favorable thing in
and
certain areas.
it has a lot of negatives that can be improved on, and
Yeah, exactly.
the people that are working on it can only improve
They,
if someone tells them, hey, you shouldn't really do that, or this is giving this issue, you really should reflect on that.
yeah,
And we should all be mindful of that. Like it's a work in progress, like the whole humanity has been a work in progress. Like everything we've done so far has a lot of potential, but also it has some negatives that we should really be mindful of that. And I really think that blockchain is another thing that it has a lot of potential, and maybe it's not being used in its full potential, and it has a lot of negatives that we should really improve. So I think that's the way to think, but again, that's just my personal
It's your
opinion.
personal take. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like there are always both sides of the coin. So uh, we blockchain will always have some downsides and right sides, not right side, but
Yes,
upsides.
I get it. Yes.
Yeah. So it could be like if we could mitigate basically the downsides of blockchain and improving upon the things that people complain about and things that are not like, as you said, Phantasma is prone to the environment and wants to be in favor of the environment. uh, yes, that's a really good thing because in the past blockchains
Definitely.
weren't pro environment. They consumed a lot of energy, but the times are changing and people are adapting, and blockchain as well is adapting. So yeah, so I think like it's been an amazing interview. It's been a real pleasure having you here. It was the first time doing an interview and in a podcast in the Crazy
Well,
Tech Talks.
I really have to thank you. It's been a pleasure too for me, and I really, even though I'm not an expert, and I wanna really emphasize that, like I'm not an expert. All I can give people, it's my opinions for what it's worth, and I really like talking about this type of things because we should really be mindful, and we can only be mindful if we talk about it in a civilized manner, and
Exactly.
that's if there's something to be learned here is we should strive forward into having nice conversations with people, even people who might disagree, because that's the way to move forward
Yeah.
and living together. That's
Yeah, that's an healthy discussion around the
yes,
topic
definitely.
that there are two sides of things. And
And
yeah,
thank
go
you.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I want to really thank you for your invitation. I mean, I've known you quite a lot a lot
A
of
long
time
time.
right now, and I'm really excited for the things that you are working on. I'm really excited of the things that might come up in the future, and I'm really looking forward into it.
Thank you. So I want to ask you, can you please give us like some details of what are you working on, uh, socials? Because I think people should get to know you and should explore more about your work and maybe, who knows, contact you. So can you please like ArtStation? I know that you have ArtStation.
Yes, yes.
Can you share?
Yes, I can share. I can share all the links, and if you want, you can put in the description or something because.
Yeah, we'll put them definitely.
But yes, right now I've recently worked with Green Games on a as a freelancer on or their most recent game, Fabledom.
Yeah.
I think it's now available on Steam. What's quite a nice experience. I worked with João Martins, which is a very talented artist, and right now I'm also working on personal projects for my portfolio that I believe that I haven't paid attention in quite a while, so I'll try to improve on that as well. And the links, yeah, I can give you all the links for my socials. I mean, I'm open to any type of work, but especially environment art and prop modeling. That's what what I'm focusing on right now. And again, thank you for your invitation. It's really nice talking with you.
Thank you for coming on the show, and it was a real pleasure having this type of conversation. It's not a discussion; it's a conversation about
Yes,
a topic
definitely.
that we are both on, and I wish you like the best for everything that you are doing, and I hope that I will see you in the future, and I really want to work with you again, as you know,
Thank you.
because we do share some ideas on not only games but a lot of things. So
Yes, yes.
it's been really a pleasure to
Who
be.
knows? Who knows? We might actually work on something that might come out. Who
Yeah,
knows?
who knows? And thank you for being here, and it's been an
Thank you.
amazing talk. And I hope I can bring you more in future episodes. So once again, thank you, and
Definitely. I wouldn't mind at all.
so thank you everyone for watching. This is the episode, and I hope you enjoyed. Uh, let's have a round of applause for Daniel.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you for being here, and see you
You're welcome.
on the
Thank you.
next one, guys, and bye.